Broadside Books and Harper Audio present Dawn's Early Light, Taking Back Washington to Save America by Kevin Roberts. Foreword by J.D. Vance. Read by Kevin Roberts and Jim Seybert. Dedication. For my two greatest heroes, my grandparents Mark and Betty Petrie, for their faith, love, and patriotism.
Foreword. In the classic American film Pulp Fiction, John Travolta's character, recently returned from Amsterdam, observes that Europe has the same consumer goods as America, but there it's just a little different. That's how I feel about Kevin Roberts' life. He grew up in a poor family in a corner of the country largely ignored by America's elites, but his corner was in Louisiana, and mine in Ohio and Kentucky. Like me, he's a Catholic, but unlike me, he was born into it. His grandparents played an outsized role in his life, just as mine did. And now he works far from where he grew up, just a few steps from my office in Washington, D.C. He is the president of one of Washington's most influential think tanks, and I'm a U.S. Senator. Now he has written the book you are listening to, which explores many of the themes I've focused on in my own work. Yet he does so profoundly, with a style that makes accessible its real intellectual rigor. Never before has a figure with Roberts's depth and stature within the American right tried to articulate a genuinely new future for conservatism. The Heritage Foundation isn't some random outpost on Capitol Hill. It is and has been the most influential engine of ideas for Republicans from Ronald Reagan to Donald Trump. Yet it is Heritage's power and influence that makes it easy to avoid risks. Roberts could collect a nice salary, write decent books, and tell donors what they want to hear. But Roberts believes doing the same old thing could lead to the ruin of our nation. If you've read a lot of conservative books or think you have a good sense of the conservative movement, I suspect that what follows will be surprising, even jarring. Roberts understands economics and supports basic free market principles, but he doesn't make an idol out of decades-old theories. He argues persuasively that the modern financial corporation was almost entirely foreign to the founders of our nation. The closest 18th century analog to the modern Apple or Google is the British East India Company, a monstrous hybrid of public and private power that would have made its subjects completely unable to access an American sense of liberty. The idea that our founders meant to make their citizens subject to this kind of hybrid power is ahistorical and preposterous. Yet too many modern conservatives make such an idol out of the market that they ignore this. A private company that can censor speech, influence elections, and work seamlessly with intelligence services and other federal bureaucrats deserves the scrutiny of the right, not its support. Roberts not only gets this at an instinctive level, he can articulate a political vision to engage in that scrutiny effectively. Roberts sees a conservatism that is focused on the family. In this, he borrows from the old American right that recognized, correctly in my view, that cultural norms and attitudes matter. We should encourage our kids to get married and have kids. We should teach them that marriage isn't just a contract, but a sacred, and to the extent possible, lifelong union. We should discourage them from behaviors that threaten the stability of their families. But we should also do something else, create the material circumstances such that having a family isn't only for the privileged. That means better jobs at all levels of the income ladder. That means protecting American industries, even if it leads to higher consumer prices in the short term. That means listening to our young people who are telling us they can't afford to buy a home or start a family, not just criticizing them for a lack of virtue. Roberts is articulating a fundamentally Christian view of culture and economics, recognizing that virtue and material progress go hand in hand. My childhood was
Sample complete. Ready to continue?